All right, let's go over this market. So let's go with Meta first. Let's look at where it finished at on the daily moving averages. So it actually finished right below the 100-day moving average and the 20. Slightly bearish, I guess, overall, but I think that this can come up here to 630 here soon. If you look at this chart, it looks a lot like SPY to me, where it probably is going to come up a little bit higher at least. I would say 630, that's the 1.61 fib of this move right here. So I'm not really that worried about the moving averages on this one. And it could come all the way up here to 650 at some point. But I would say 630 is probably a good spot. That's only about, what is that, like a 1.8% move. So yeah, that's a pretty good spot for where SPY is at. I would say 630. Tesla up huge today. That was expected. I was not expecting to get this big of a move though. So that tells me that this is not a fourth wave. That means 5 waves ended right here. So the question is that the end of the move down? If it's 5 waves, it could be, but I would say this is pretty short in time length and how far it went down. So I would say that it's likely that this is putting in a second wave. The determining factor is going to be the 200 DMA on this one. If it can get above the 200 DMA, that's going to be super bullish because you're going to have no resistance at all on any of the weekly moving averages, and on the daily moving averages, you're going to have no resistance because you have the 20 here, you have the 200 here. Where's the 50 at? 50 is up here. 100 is at 50 and 100 up here. Above 283, this is going to get super bullish. As far as the count goes, I think that this is likely. So my count right here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think this has got to be a fourth wave. It took a while, pulled back. This is a straight up move. That's got to be a fifth wave. This has got to be a fourth wave, although it was pretty short. There's a slight chance we do this tomorrow. Come back down here, back to like 265, 270, and then shoot up after that for a fifth wave. But it's already past the 1.61 fib. What does that mean? That means this is likely not an ABC move anymore, unless we get this. All right, so let's say we get, so let's hit the 1.61 fib here. So I'll have this as C or 3 right here. So if we do this down and come up here, then that means it's 5 waves. If we correct harder than that, down here to 250, then I'm looking at this as an A wave. This would be a B wave or an X wave, and I'd be looking for this up here, a little bit higher. So it's going to depend on what happens. I mean, they don't really give anything away. I mean, it's kind of a joke that this can just sit up here for hours after gapping up and just sit up here for 5 hours at the same price for 5 hours. The whole market did that, actually. It's kind of a joke. These algos just keep it up here, so you don't really know. You're kind of just guessing at the end of the day. You're like, all right, I want to see a little bit more. I want to see what the next move has in store, but they don't give anything away. So now I'm just doing scenarios. We could be in a fourth wave. We could be in a fifth wave. We could be in an ABC move because we hit the 1.61 fib, pull back, and then go higher. So we're going to see. The 200 DMA is the most important thing to watch, though. If we can finish on the daily above the 200 DMA, then that's going to be super bullish. That's another reason why I think a pullback probably makes the most sense. And options were a little bit bearish today. They were like negative 5 or 6 million. It wasn't that much. Actually, I didn't see these at the end of the day. Maybe these were, at least I don't think I saw those. But even with those, they're still kind of like just back and forth. There's nothing really that big. It might have finished up about even or whatever. But overall, I just think that a pullback is probably going to make the most sense from here. I don't expect it just to go straight through the 200 EMA and just keep on going. If that happens, then we could be in a massive third wave, fourth and fifth, and who knows, maybe we're going to go up to 400 into June, because we'd probably hit like 310 to 330, and then the 1.61 fib is up here at 400. I don't think we bottomed yet, though. So that's one thing I don't think has happened. It's just a matter of how far we're going to retrace. I would say minimum 320. Say minimum 320, we retrace there. The 1.61 fib around 280, where we're at right now, is right around that area. And also is the 100 DMA. So watch the 200 DMA. One thing to point out here is this took 14 months. We're only about 3 months into this. So this can definitely just go like this. So we'll see how it goes. But Tesla's a tricky one for sure. Definitely a tricky one. AMD is into this weekly supply zone with a nice move today. I think it has a little bit more to go. It did finish right below the weekly 200. So that's not like super bullish, and they were buying a lot of puts on it too. Tons of puts on AMD. Well, not that much though, only like 4 or 5 million, but something to watch. AMD into the weekly supply zone. So I think that AMD could be one of two things. Either it bottomed here, and this is a first wave higher, or this could be something like that, and then we go down to 83 bucks. Those are the two options I see. This would end up being an A wave. We'd pull back and we come up here maybe to like 125, and then we would do an ABC move down here to 83 bucks. Maybe lower than that, but if you look at the regular chart though, we've already hit the 0.78 retracement. Basically. So I would say there's a good chance it bottomed. I'm just watching it day by day. I'm slightly bearish here, but it's hard to be really that bearish. It's been down for such a long time. So it's kind of unpredictable as well. It's kind of like, I wouldn't be that bearish on it. I wouldn't probably be selling covered calls that much. I'd make sure you have some calls and backup just in case it takes off again. Here's my short-term count. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's probably going to go higher here short term. Be surprised if it went right through the weekly 200, but you do have a gap up here at 122. So we're kind of in a spot like in every stock where it's either a turning point or we're just putting in that corrective move before the next leg lower. And it's kind of tricky. So I like to use the moving averages here, and let's go over SPY. SPY, despite being up 1.78% on the day, super bullish close. Super bullish. Above the 200 and above the 20. Of course, the 20 just crossed the 200, but it just finished above both of those. It's above all the moving averages now on the weekly, except for something up here. I think it's the weekly 20 up here at 591. And on daily, you don't have any resistance until the 100 at 592. So really, there is no resistance on SPY here at all until you get to this gap fill at 582, and then you have this moving average up here. If we zoom in, and it looks good. Could that be the bottom? It could still be the bottom. We have to see if this makes an impulse or not. So A or 1, B or 2. I have this as just going up here. I would say minimum 578. If it's a C wave, if we break right through this parallel line and go straight to 582 tomorrow, then that's going to be even more bullish because I would see this whole thing. Well, it could be ABC too on a very extended across the parallel line. It doesn't have to be a third wave, but I would say it's more bullish if we go up here to 582 quickly rather than chopping around and then coming up here like this. If we see it tomorrow, that's going to be super bullish. And then I'm thinking maybe it's a third wave. Could be. That's the 1.61 fib. 582 is a 1.61 fib. So I think SPY looks super bullish. I'll look at QQQ as well. No resistance on SPY here. So it looks great. QQQ still has the 200 to get above at 494. But it's above the 20 here. So that'll be interesting tomorrow. It should be up a little bit, I would imagine, with SPY. We'll see if it can get above 494. That would be super bullish on QQQ. Again, we're just waiting to see if we're going to do this type of move or if this is the bottom. Let's zoom in here a little bit. Get rid of all these. So yeah, if this goes up to 494, it breaks the parallel line. The 1.61 fib on this is at 498. So we want to see a gap up again tomorrow in the markets. If we see another big up day, that's going to be even more bullish. Do not want to see a down day tomorrow. A down day would be less bullish. Obviously, it'd be less bullish, but I mean overall for the moving averages. So let's go over Google here. My overall count on Google, I think this could be in a ending diagonal or an extension. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A, B, C, could it be 2 of 5? And then we get a third, fourth, and fifth up here like that. It's possible. So if you're looking at this, let me go back to SPY real quick. If you're looking at this as a second wave, I did a video over the weekend talking about that. I think it's on SPX, so let me see. Yeah, so this is a second wave. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, 4. And then we're just looking for an extension here. Why could this already have been bottom? Because it already hit the 0.5 fib. That's plenty long enough for a second wave. But you have a gap here at 53.50. So it also makes sense that this ends up doing this. That also makes sense. That would just be a deeper second wave. If we bottom, this ends up being an impulse, then you're looking at third wave all the way up here at potentially 6,800. Potentially. Maybe it only goes to the 1.23 fib. Let's see where the 1.23 fib is. So 63.45 minimum, I would say. If this is a third wave. If it's a B wave, then we're coming down here to 53.50. And we'll just see. We'll see if this turns into an impulse. Like I said, we're on the cusp of breaking out, and we're also like at the spot where it could get denied too, and then you gotta scramble on your stocks and figure out what you're gonna do. I would say it looks pretty good though. Like Mara, I'm just going over moving averages right now. I said this could bottom here at, I was looking for 1128 back a long time ago. That was the 1.61 fib, but it hit the bottom of this parallel line. And so it might have bottomed as well. As far as moving averages, nice right here. You see how the 20 is below it, and then you have the 50 or the 100 and the 200 way up here at 18 bucks. That's pretty bullish. It did it previously though, and then it came right back down. So it's not necessarily 100%, and you're still below all the weekly moving averages. So it does need to go pretty hard. If it gets above like 17 bucks, there's a good chance it bottomed. On the smaller time frames, it looks like it could be a 5-wave move here. So we'll see how that goes. I want to see more up on Mara as well. Coin though, this is the chart that is interesting because so I see this as 5 waves. And the reason why I previously had said this is potentially the end of the 3rd wave, we're making a 4th wave, a 5th wave higher. But this ended up making an impulse down. And I'll show you parallel lines to show you that this made 5 waves. 3, 4, and 5. But I had said previously that I thought this could be the end of the 3rd wave. This was some kind of, oh, whatever, it doesn't matter. So we have 5 waves down here. That's the problem with the coin that I see. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A, B, C, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, and 5. To me, that's an A wave. And so coin might be in a 2nd wave. Yeah, I think it could be in a 2nd wave here. If you go on the regular chart just to see like what it looks like. I'm starting to use the regular chart some now too because I feel like sometimes the log chart can throw me off sometimes. And the 0.78 fib is around here at 100 bucks. This kind of shows you too. Look on the regular chart. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, 5. And then you get this move from 350 all the way down to 180 bucks. So does it look like we're just going to go straight up to new highs? No. So sometimes the regular chart is useful. I said previously I just used log chart completely, but I've kind of switched away a little bit of that just because sometimes, like on AMD too, is another stock that when they get these parabolic moves like this, it kind of distorts it even on the log chart. Like I can see the long-term trend, but the regular chart's going to help out a little bit here. So if this is 5 waves, that makes this an A wave, B, C, like that, and then that would be a 2nd wave. Yeah, that'd be a 2nd wave, and then it could go up to 500, 700 bucks, wherever. You'd have a 3rd wave that would probably hit 500 bucks, 553. Let's check out the standard deviations on the weekly. Monthly is not going to show up. So yeah, you can see that this is a 5-wave move on the regular chart here. And yeah, so we'll watch coin off the lows. It's pretty corrective as well. You can see it's pretty corrective. There's a supply zone here at 207 to 222. You have gaps. You have like no gaps actually on the chart, but I think it can make its way up here to 250 potentially. Maybe a little bit higher than that, 250 to 270 before the next leg down. Like I said, Tesla is likely to make a wave down. So this is kind of on the same wavelength as Tesla, I would say, where you're starting to get that move back, and then you're probably going to see another move down. So that's coin. Google, again, could be in a 5-wave move. HIMS, also another stock that I think could be pretty bullish here short term. Look at the moving averages here. You have 50 is the only resistance on the weekly. All the weekly moving averages are way down here. This is still super bullish overall because it moves so high so quick, and that's why I had a big retracement. So the 50 is the only resistance here, and I expect this to go to 41. And if it gets above all this resistance and the market continues to go higher, there's a gap all the way up here at 50. I think HIMS is a really good play here. Where is the 20 at? The 20's got to be lower too. Yeah, it's already above the 22. So it really just needs to break above 38 bucks. And I think you see 50. And like I said, on all the other stocks too, you're looking for a retrace. So I think that HIMS should see 50, maybe even see 60. It just depends on how much SPY is going to retrace or if it bottomed, obviously. So HIMS, very bullish on that as well. Let's look at Amazon. Amazon, same thing. Very, very bullish close. Finishes at 203 above the 200 and the 20, and you got the 50 way up here. Very bullish close. I expected to see like 215 at least. How is that going to happen? It could be like this, though. It could end up going something like that. And then probably another leg down, though, like everything else. So I'm not totally opposed to the overall market already being bottomed. But even if it does a impulse here, let's say it goes and then it pulls back here, and it could go like this. I would be very surprised if it did that, but it could do this and come up here to like 6,000, and then we get some more bad news, and it comes down here like that. So I think that this correction or this retrace should last a little bit longer, probably into April, maybe into mid-April at least, maybe even into May. So I think we're in the early stages, but I'm pretty bullish on SPY overall short term as well. And everything looks bullish to me. Everything finished bullish. So a big up day. A lot of people think that you just got to take profit and wait for the pullback, but not necessarily. Of course, it could pull back, but you got to take the moving averages into account. And everything looks bullish to me. So Apple 220. Moving averages. This one's slightly still bearish, but weekly it's fine. Has a lot of room it can run into though. It can run all the way up here to 228 short term. Same pattern as everything else, it looks like to me. Potentially something like this, and then probably down to 198. So that's pretty much it. I'm gonna stop there today. I guess the last thing I can look at is Bitcoin. So Bitcoin, let's take a look on the regular chart and see if there's anything different. See the difference? Log chart doesn't retrace that much. Regular chart retraced a lot more. So the reason that I like to use the regular chart right now is because on the log chart, maybe I'm still thinking this could be a fourth wave. At this point, I think that this is probably going to end up being an extension. So I got to go to the log chart though for some of it. So if this is going to be an extension, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 A, B, C, 6, 7, 8, 9. So this is probably, more than likely, wave 1 of 5. Because this is a corrective move, you're probably going to get something like this and another move down. And then you're going to see 3, 4, 5. So Bitcoin has potential to go up to like 200,000, basically. Maybe more, maybe 250,000. But it's looking to me like this is going to shape up as potentially a 9-wave extension. So let me zoom out here on the weekly. So yeah, I actually like this right here. Because then you see 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, if it bottoms here and just goes straight up, then I would say that's a 5th wave. But if we get the retrace like this and down, then I'm looking for the extension that can go to 250,000. So in the long run, this deeper move actually might be better. So I guess the overall summary of the video is that I'm pretty bullish overall short term, at least for a retrace, potentially a bottom. We need more information to see if it actually bottomed or not. I'm leaning towards retrace and lower low, but I'm open to we've already bottomed. That's it for this update. Leave me a comment, like, subscribe for more updates, and I'll catch you in the next video.